All right, we can get settled down here. Thank you. We now call the City Council regular meeting to order for August 12th at 6 p.m. Please rise for the invocation and pledge of allegiance. The invocation will be given by Councilwoman Brittany McGuire.
Dear Lord, first of all, we want to thank you for this evening. Thank you for each and every one of us that have come out tonight, Lord, as we go about making these decisions for the city. Lord, I'm asking you to give us unbelievable clarity, Lord. Just open our eyes so that we can see each situation and each individual item, Lord, like you would have us see it. Lord, I'm asking you to send the Holy Spirit to each and every one of us, Lord, to give us discernment so that we can make those decisions, Lord, that's the best for all of us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May you be seated. Please call the roll.
Yes, sir. Councilmember McGuire.
Here.
Councilmember McCure.
Here.
Councilmember Taylor.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Bernard.
Here.
Mayor Anderson.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. We do have a very, very full agenda tonight, so the comments will be limited to one comment per participant, per topic, and 3 minutes. All right, first up, we have the consent agenda. This will be for items 4 through 9. Is there anything council wishes to remove? Seeing none, I'll be looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda C4 through 9 with only one minor change on the minutes for July 22nd. It was Mr. Bernard that arrived at 4:03 instead of me.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any further comments, questions? Seeing none, we'll call the roll.
Councilmember McGuire.
Yes.
Councilmember McCure.
Yes.
Councilmember Taylor.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Bernard.
Yes.
Mayor Anderson.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Item number 10, this will be an event request for Red's Auto Options LLC. Be the first annual Main Street Showdown.
Yes, sir. And I believe Red Auto Options is here. If you could come to the center there, state your name and address for the record.
My name is Corey Cole. I'm the owner of Red's Auto Options here at 106 West Main Street in Avon Park. Welcome. Thank you. And we appreciate you taking the time tonight to let us come sit with you. We are requesting to be able to close down Main Street from the railroad tracks to Lake Avenue at the red light on November 2nd for a grand opening that we're having of the business, and also a first annual car, truck, and power sports show that we are putting on for the community. So Lindsay here has some more information if you have any questions.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to add, Lindsay?
I think that it'd be vital for it to be on Main Street. I think that that's going to draw positive attention to Avon Park and to the businesses.
Any questions for them?
No, sir.
Anything from staff? Any reason why we should not proceed?
No, the only thing that we just want to present is that there's a request for a waiver of fees for the road closures. As you know, the road closure, and then approval for food trucks.
Okay.
And we do plan on having all the vendors on our patio. So it won't necessarily be trucks. It'll be kind of like a barbecue style.
Okay. So all the vendors will be actually on your property, not on Main Street?
We want to have the cars on Main Street.
The cars. The car show, basically.
Yes, sir.
And we do have, I know somebody that owns a septic company, so we do have access to porta potties, things like that. And because obviously with just my building, we only have we have limited restrooms. But then we do have a DJ coming to set up. You know, he's going to do a small setup so that he can be playing some nice music for the community as they're coming through to look at all the cars and trucks and things like that. And we are going to have, you know, prizes and things like that for best of show and different, you know, multiple different categories.
Okay.
And so we have not started to advertise this out yet. We're working on making flyers. We wanted to wait till we had the approval from you all before we sent this out, but a few people already know about it, so we've had great feedback from the community on it. So we have a lot of people that are very excited about it.
Excellent. You see you have your insurance all in order here. That's always the big one.
Yes, sir. So the insurance, my insurance agent, J.C. Shoup in Sebring, I spoke with him about a week and a half ago. And he said insurance is not a problem. He's going to send me a quote. I spoke with him again on Friday. He's going to send me a quote this week, but he'll make sure that it's in effect. You will have the insurance on your files minimum 3 weeks before the event. But he's going to, as soon as I get the quote, I'll send it over to you so you do know that we are proceeding with it.
Very good. So I see some of the city generated here, the estimate for special event. It's not a bill, just outlining what the cost of the event would actually be to the city. This would be a question for staff. So we have the aero board rentals on here again. We had talked about this the last time. What is the cost of actually the city just buying these aero board rentals so that they don't have to be part of this rental each time?
So the cost is, sometimes we have to go out and put the aero boards out there in advance. And there's other areas, other projects that we have where we may end up needing that and say we do it for theirs and we're doing something with a road closure or whatnot, then we have to go out there and go rent it. Would probably be more than the price that we offered. So it's, it's a cost. It's a cost behind it, and that's cheaper than if they were to go to Wright and get a price from them. So that's what we put a price behind it.
Any idea how much these aero boards are?
Probably about $10,000, more or less, $11,000.
Okay. All right. So is there any further questions?
I'm just curious if we've ever considered putting those in our arsenal, basically, so we won't have to charge this to the vendors.
Well, we're talking about waiving the fee.
Right, but I'm talking about having them so we don't have to have this before us every time.
Right. That's why I asked the question of how much they cost.
I mean, for special events, you want to have them for special events and just use them for that. It's no problem. We can, I don't know, maybe put in a budget to buy a few of them.
Something we can discuss at our next budget meeting.
Yes, please.
All right. If there's no further questions for them, we'll be looking for a motion. Just keep in mind, it will be requesting to waive all the fees on this page 186.
Even the personnel fees?
That's what they're requesting. If you're not wanting to waive that, that's something you should bring up now. Seeing none, is there a motion?
Can I so move?
You can.
Thank you.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second it.
We have a motion and a second. Last call for questions. Seeing none, please call a roll.
Councilmember McGuire?
Yes.
Councilmember McCure?
Yes.
Councilmember Taylor?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Bernard?
Yes.
Mayor Anderson?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you guys very much. Look forward to seeing it.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right, item number 11. This will be an event request for the Harvest Festival. Ms. Camel Long.
Yes, sir. I'll be presenting for Ms. Long as she is out sick today. The Chamber of Commerce is requesting approval to host a fall festival. It would take place Saturday, October 26th from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. There will be vendors, food trucks, a street performer, tents, and a DJ. Long has been advised to obtain event insurance and confirm that she will be able to do it 2 weeks before the event. The request is for a waiver of fees for road closures. The road closure is for a costume parade, which is going to go from Main Street, and a partial closure of Butler Avenue. There's also a request for food trucks.
Okay, any questions on this event?
So that's complete, the entire Main Street, both sides?
Looks like from
So-
Butler Avenue all the way to Donaldson Park. So it's not the entire Main Street, so a little bit off to the side of the request we just did. Any other questions?
I just want to go over that real quick.
Go ahead.
On some of the items where it's a little bit smaller, but we still have to route because trucks use that area. If we have to route, that's why we make the area bigger than what's on the map, because I can't, I don't want to put a truck down, say, Lake Ave, and try to, an 18-wheeler if it comes down there. So we end up putting it at a different location to try to do the detour. That's why it goes out a little bit further.
Understood. Any other questions?
Yes, sir.
If not, I'll be looking for a motion. Need a motion to approve item number 11.
So move.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Going once, going twice.
I second it.
All right, we have a second. Last call for questions. Seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember McGuire?
Yes.
Councilmember McCure?
Yes.
Councilmember Taylor?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Bernard?
Yes.
Mayor Anderson?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item number 12, this would be a public hearing and second reading of ordinance number 7-2024.
Ordinance of the City of Avon Park, Florida, providing for adoption of its code changes to Code Section 50-116 to direct fireworks applicants to forms on the city website and to provide for fees to be established as modified through resolution rather than by ordinance. An amendment to Code Section 50-117, provide fees for fireworks sales regulation to be established and modified by resolution, provide for codification, repeal conflicting codes, ordinances, and resolutions, provide for severability, scrivener's errors, and provide an effective date.
Okay, do we have any questions before we open the public hearing?
Yes, sir.
Seeing none, public hearing for the second reading of ordinance number 7-2024 is now open. Anyone from the public wishing to speak on this ordinance can now do so. Seeing none, public hearing for the second reading of ordinance number 7-2024 is now closed. Be looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion, we approve D12, the second reading of ordinance number 07-2024.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Last call for questions. Seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember McGuire?
Yes.
Councilmember McCure?
Yes.
Councilmember Taylor?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Bernard?
Yes.
Mayor Anderson?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Resolution number 2024-09. This will be fire rescue assessment.
A resolution of the City of Avon Park, Florida, relating to provision of fire rescue services, facilities, and programs, and the funding thereof through annual special assessments, establishing the proposed assessment rates for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2024, directing preparation of the assessment roll for such fiscal year, authorizing a public hearing, and directing the provision of notice thereof, and providing an effective date.
Okay, Andy, would you like to take this, or?
Sure. This is just what we do every year. So this is the preliminary rate. You noticed it last year at 185 per home, and then per square footage for everything else. You can notice it at that, or not notice it. You don't have to notice it at this point. You're just setting that preliminary rate. You can go down after that. So currently we're at 154 per home. If you set it at that, you just can't go above that the next time we discuss this. So this is the preliminary rate, and you can go down from here.
Okay. So do we want to set the preliminary rate at 186 like we did last year?
I agree.
Is that a motion?
So move.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second.
I
Questions?
just want to clarify, I think it's 185, not 186.
Jim, was that your intent to do what we did last year, which was 185, not 186?
I'll take 185, please.
Okay. Do you still wish to second the motion?
Yes.
All right. Any questions? Seeing none, I'll be looking for to call the roll.
Yes, sir. Councilmember McGuire?
Yes.
Councilmember McCure?
Yes.
Councilmember Taylor?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Bernard?
Yes.
Mayor Anderson?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Item number 14 is the resolution number 2024-10.
A resolution of the City of Avon Park, Florida, relating to the state revolving fund loan program for project WW28044, making findings, authorizing the loan application, authorizing the loan agreement, designating authorized representatives, providing assurances, providing for conflicts, severability, and effective date.
Okay.
Thank you, Jerry. This resolution is correcting a scrivener's error. It didn't accurately represent that the SRF loan is 100% forgivable, so this resolution is going to revoke 2024-07 and implement this in its place.
Any questions?
No.
We'll be looking for a motion for resolution 2024-10.
So move.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second it.
We have a motion and a second. Last call for questions. Seeing none, please call a roll.
Councilmember McGuire?
Yes.
Councilmember McCure?
Yes.
Councilmember Taylor?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Bernard?
Yes.
Mayor Anderson?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item number 15 is to be referred app applications. Melody?
Yes, we received notification from Fred Fox that the deadline for submitting applications is going to be anywhere between September 16th and the end of September. So he's asking if we want to put in any applications. The cost of preparing the application is 3%, which would be covered by grant funding. And the cost of administering it would be 10%, which is also covered by grant funding. We have, right now in the CIP 4 FERDAP grants. We have Durham Martin Park, but we put in for that last year and it was denied because we do not have a warranty deed for that property.
Has that situation been changed, or is
No,
it the same?
Mark was doing that, so I'm not sure where he left off on that, so we'll have to.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
The warranty deed for Durham Martin, have we made any headway there?
I was not aware that we were looking for it, but I will. I'll research that.
Okay.
And then we have Lake Tulane Playground, Donaldson Park, and Walnut Street Park. So we just need direction. We can put 2 applications in this year.
Okay, so for Donaldson Park, what was the outline of the FERDAP application?
The park sits on the east side of Lake Verona with a large sandy beach, which city and county residents and other visitors truly enjoy. Plans for Donaldson Park include a splash pad with age-appropriate areas and fencing, an amphitheater, new irrigation system throughout the park, and new additional child playground equipment, newer refurbished sports facility, pickleballs.
Okay. Do you think that would qualify for the FERDAP? Okay.
I believe so. Mm-hmm.
Well, obviously, we're awaiting comment from city staff.
Jason Atkinson, Public Works Director. Just to remind, we did go through the CRA, and we just addressed this through CRA, so I would probably move those funds to a different park, because we're taking care of that.
So we
Just a
had
suggestion.
3 options, one of which we do not know if we can apply for, right? Durham Martin.
Correct.
So we can apply for 2. Obviously, the last one is a given because it's the only one nobody has any issue with, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So do we want to also try to go for Durham Martin again, or do we want to put it into Donaldson Park? I think there's probably plenty of things to go around, or is there another idea anybody has?
Mayor, I would like to see some of it put toward Lake Tulane. And the reason why I'm asking is, as I read this, there's a lot of planning for certain parks here. You know, it specifically say the plans are for, and then it goes specifically and tell you what you want to do. But when they talk about Lake Tulane, they just tell you what needs to be done, but there's no planning. There's no plans. It just needs to be done.
What was
So a
Tulane
lot
Park
of, go ahead.
one of the applications already?
No. Not that I'm aware of, not since I've been here. Donaldson Park, Durham Martin Park is the one that got denied, and then we have one right now for MLK that's in process.
Oh, I thought somebody mentioned Tulane during the initial presentation.
Tulane is one of the ones that is in the CIP.
Right.
Yeah.
That's one of the 3 that you mentioned.
Mhm.
Yeah, so we're already planning for Tulane, Bernice.
Already planning for Tulane?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and the same thing with, I'm not sure what we can do at Walnut Street Park, but it don't seem like it got a lot of planning in it. It just pretty much talks about what's there, but no plan is being made other than the resurfacing.
Any suggestions as to another park that we could apply for with FERDAP?
What's the max that we can ask for with these?
200.
And are these still matching?
So our consultant says that we don't have a match because we're a ready community, so he can get it without a match.
So
But we
basically, we're just looking for something to spend $200,000 on.
Correct.
So, help me out here, Melanie. The reason why Ally McWhite Park is not included is what now?
I don't have the answer for that.
We've identified.
Jason brought forward Walnut Park.
So Walnut Street Park, we do have some ideas in place to move forward with that, and it was discussed, I believe, at the last meeting. We went over and spoke about that. So, and there was an additional add-on, Council Vice Mayor Bernard brought forward about another suggestion that he wanted to have in that park. Maybe, because since we're not going to have any tennis courts anymore, is that accurate, Council Vice Mayor Bernard? So we have a large area where we would just basically go there and do, there's a field that we can use, that we can put a better surface where people can go out there, kick the ball, play some soccer, do things like that. Councilmember McGuire brought forward a walking path. We also talked about, we can do like a backstop to have people play different things, maybe even come up with maybe a wiffle ball, or there's all kinds of different things that you can do out there that would make it look really nice. Right now, all it is a faded basketball court. So we go out there, put some lighting, put everything else in bathroom facilities and whatnot. It's a prime spot for a park, but also I agree that the 2-lane is a good place that we can do some positive things in that park as well.
I'm concerned about the Mike White Park. Everybody know in this room, it is one of the parks that really need our attention, okay? Especially with the security, okay? And it seems like to me that we always want to go to the CRA for the funding. I think that it should be included in any type of grant money that we get to help that park, to improve that park. You have a basketball court down there that probably haven't been resurfaced in a while.
It's budgeted.
Okay, and so, like I said, I'm not sure why it didn't get included on this list, but that park needs a lot of attention.
Yeah, I think, and the reason why I would say is because I don't know what else I can put out there. It's a basketball court. We can redo it. We can make it look really nice, and then we're going to do lights and plenty of other things. Mm-hmm. But the facilities and the gazebo and some of the other items are actually in pretty good shape.
It is.
So, yeah, so.
I think I'm more concerned about security.
Yeah, no, we have that identified. So we, Matt and, we spoke about that, so we have some ideas in front that it's not any ideas, it's budgeted. It's already budgeted, and the CRA is all asking us about it, but I put it in my budget as well, just to go and get the lighting and redo the basketball courts and make it look nicer. Okay. So I could not spend $400,000 in that park. I couldn't spend $200,000. I don't see how I could do that, so that's why I didn't bother. I think I put $50,000 or something like along those lines to budgeted for that park where I can resurface it, maybe do something with the backboards, make it look nice, get some lighting and whatnot.
Okay, so is anyone opposed to applying for the Lake 2-lane playground and Walnut Street Park?
No.
No, it's fine.
Is anyone here to make that motion?
So move.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments? No? Okay, please call the roll.
Councilmember McGuire?
Yes.
Councilmember McCure?
Yes.
Councilmember Taylor?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Bernard?
Yes.
Mayor Anderson?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Item number 16, statewide mutual aid agreement. Andy?
This is just something that we do every few years. So our last time, I think, was 2018. We have an agreement with the state and the county that if anything major happens, we have to sign this agreement to get help or give help. So this is just something we do every few years, and it's that time again.
Okay, any questions? Seeing none, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion, we approve D16, the statewide mutual aid agreement.
You looking for a second?
A second.
We have a second. Last call for questions. Seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember McGuire?
Yes.
Councilmember McCure?
Yes.
Councilmember Taylor?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Bernard?
Yes.
Mayor Anderson?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item number 17, GoGov citizens notifications and alerts agreements.
Yes, sir, thank you. So just the long and short of this, I have been getting feedback from utilities customer service teams as well as receiving many complaints with regards to citizens not receiving boil water notices in a timely fashion. So I was introduced to GoGov, which is a app developer who has some options that are available to the city for a low cost to make sure that we can send text messages, emails. I do have a representative, Miss Emily. Okay, Miss Emily, can you hear me? I don't think she can hear.
We have a proposal from them for annually of $4,260.
Yes, sir.
And this will be able to be used as many or as few times as we wish. Looks like everything is unlimited users, departments, data, training. Does it cost every time you send out a notice, or is it unlimited?
Nope, it's all inclusive.
Okay.
I will note that City Attorney Purr did have some reservations about the agreement, and I'll let him take over.
Okay.
Thanks. So I advise staff that the provision number 5, we generally don't accept those limitations of liability, or at least in this case, it says that they limit their liability to, in any regard, not to exceed 50% of the annual contract value, which is obviously minuscule. So in the past, we've rejected them for engineers and surveyors and other professionals. But as I told them, it really has to do with what's your bargaining power. I mean, are there other services that would do it and not require this limitation on liability? So sometimes you have no choice, but it's my responsibility to advise you that that's junk. I don't like those provisions at all.
And you haven't asked them in any way to remove that or change that?
Yeah, yes, we did.
You did, and they refused that?
They didn't refuse. It just wasn't really discussed a lot, if that makes sense. So they did add a public records provision in there for us. I do know that they work with other municipalities. I wish Emily would have been able to speak on there, but I think she's gone now. Nope, there she is.
She's at the
I
top.
see her mic moving.
She's speaking, but we're not hearing it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we could always go back to them and see if we can get an answer on that. That wouldn't be a problem.
Well, if they do deny it, does the council want to move forward with it, I guess is the real question.
I would just point out that they say they're providing insurance, but if you have this limitation, insurance costs almost nothing because it's so limited as to liability. If they accepted limits of reasonable insurance, it might be a little more palatable to you. So.
Okay. Is this something that would need to be done ASAP?
No, sir.
Okay. So does the council want to instruct the city attorney and or the city manager to try again?
Yes, on both, as well as I do like the idea. I think I've heard a lot of people complain. No, I've heard people make comments about they don't seem to know how to get enough announcement of whenever the next city council meetings are and the location and the time. A lot of people don't get newspapers. A lot of people don't have Facebook. And a lot of people don't know to go to the city website. So I think this would solve that problem. Whether we go with this company or another company, I think that's a great idea.
Okay.
If we were to accept this, how long would it take before we went live on it?
I would have to coordinate with them. I didn't want to put cart before horse, so I wanted to get it in front of you, see what you guys thought about it, if you wanted to move forward.
So is this a service that people would have to sign up for?
Yep, so it would be an app. They would be able to download that app onto their phone, and it would receive real-time notifications. As soon as we send it out, they would receive text messages if they signed up for text messages, emails if they signed up for emails. It also will post it to our Facebook page as well as on our website.
So Jerry, is there any way, since they're actually going to be downloading this app, to do some kind of release of liability for everybody who downloads it?
Well, you can draft, any type of release you want, but.
So would that help protect us?
And
or-
we may have been able to fix the issues. Emily, can you say something?
Nope.
No? Okay.
I see the microphone moving.
We see you, Emily. We just can't hear you.
So I have a question, Christie. Other than the boil water and the road closure, what are some of the vital notices that we would be?
We could put anything from events to notices of public meetings. I mean, it's a one-stop shop for getting communication out there to the citizens.
Road closure notifications for
Yes.
upcoming events.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of similar to what the county does during hurricane season. if there's a
Exactly.
hurricane.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a good idea. It's just a matter of trying to work out the language and details, so, I mean, I would certainly be in favor of the city staff trying again and see where they can get with it, and if they don't get anywhere different with it, then we'll bring it to our next meeting.
Sounds like a plan.
Anybody opposed to that action?
No, 100%.
Okay. Very good. Any other questions on this item? Seeing none, the item number 18, Kimley Horn on-call contract extension.
Yes, sir. The city's contract with Kinley Horn related to on-call services at the airport is up for renewal. Given the impending decision on the AIPP, staff has gotten together and agreed that it might be a better option to do it as a one-year renewal as opposed to extending it for 5 years.
Okay. Any questions?
No, but I do agree with that.
Is that the minimum we could go is 1 year?
That's what they were recommended. So when we were going back and forth, that's the lowest that they would go.
Somebody said that the master agreement says we can cancel in 7 days.
Yes, Jameson did.
Yeah, so if you can cancel in 7 days anyway, I mean, I don't have that in front of me, but if that's the case, then it doesn't matter when you extend it, just allows them the opportunity to serve you at that point, but you can always cancel within 7 days. So if the van takes over, then at that point, then you can time it whenever that's convenient.
Okay.
Okay. Anyone want to make a motion to extend the Kimley Horn on-call contract for 1 year?
For 1 year, I do. So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Last call for questions. Seeing none, please call a roll.
Councilmember McGuire?
Yes.
Councilmember McCure?
Yes.
Councilmember Taylor?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Bernard?
Yes,
Mayor Anderson?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item number 19, this will be the 24-25 fiscal year health insurance renewal.
So Florida Blue originally quoted us a 19.7% renewal rate increase for our health benefits. Our insurance broker, Michael Watkins, was able to negotiate them down to a 9.5%, but it had to be a no-shop renewal instead. To guarantee that rate for the city, we would have to agree to not go out and market this year for our health benefits. To market the insurance, the broker would have to provide Florida Blue's insurance renewal rate at the higher, the 19.7% increase, not the 9.5% no-shop renewal rate. The competitors would try to beat that 19.7, and they could, but they won't get close to the 9.5 no-shop rate because we have some high-dollar claims, ongoing claims, prescription claims, medical claims. It's recommended that we stay with Florida Blue this year for our health coverage. Guardian Dental and Vision, their rates are going to stay the same. There's no rate increase there. Colonial Life voluntary benefits, there's no changes to the rates there. We did go out and try to get a quote for possible long-term disability line of coverage, which would be a voluntary benefit. We already offer short-term. We don't have a long-term. We did get a quote, but they require a minimum of 25% participation to sustain it. So that I don't think we would get at this time. We're also waiting on Liberty National. They can compete with Colonial. We're waiting on their rates to come in to see if it's even competitive or if not, to stay with Colonial. Our life AD&D coverage with the standard currently renews in January. We are working on getting them to move to the fiscal year, so all of our lines of coverage are at the same time. And our employee assistance program with Aetna, the COBRA notification services through MedCom, and the Employee Navigator Benefit Administration System, there's no changes to the rates there. And for this evening, council would need to decide if they want to keep the lines of coverage as is for the upcoming fiscal year, knowing that there's no rate increases on the majority of this and a small one for health, or if we want to go to market, and we'll get quotes, but they'll be higher than that 9.5%.
Any questions?
no, I just have a comment that I think this organization has brought these insurance Options to us have done a great job for many, many, many years. They've always proved to, especially come in late with a better price than they originally came in with. So I think we need to stick with them as well as the recommendations.
Any other questions or comments?
I have a question for Denise. Denise, what is the employees saying about insurance that we have now?
I'm sorry?
What are the employees saying? What the majority of them is saying about what we have now? Are they pleased with it? Or
I haven't heard
they
any
don't- you don't get
negative.
feedback from it?
No, not at all on the insurance.
The only thing I heard you say is that you would struggle to get a 25% participation.
For the long-term disability.
Okay.
25% would be about how many
About 22
employees?
people.
How many?
In other words, less than 25% are
Yeah.
enrolled in the long-term disability insurance only. That has nothing to do
Yeah.
with the regular health insurance.
Yeah, and that's not anything the city pays for. That's 100% paid by the employee.
So the name of the plan that we have now is the Blue Options 5360?
That's what I call the co-pay plan, and then there's the high deductible plan that works with the HSA.
So Denise, let me ask you this question. I know in some instances it probably doesn't matter because we have to buy insurance according to what we can afford, right? But is there any kind of survey that we would give the employees in the future that, get a feedback of, what they like about it, what they don't like about it? That way, I mean, it would be nice to try to give them something that they want,
Yeah, and I'm open to that. We can put a survey out there, questionnaire, and we have an open door too. So if there is a negative comment, I'm going to hear about it. They're going to come to me. When we made the change last year, there were some problems with switching over doctors, and that's why we don't recommend changing every year too, because the employees have to switch doctors to go into a new network, and it's a hassle, especially if they have upcoming surgeries, and that's a huge process. But we worked with them very closely, got them where they needed to be, and I didn't hear anything negative back from them on it.
I guess the main reason why I'm saying it, because it would probably help us to help them if we knew, the feedback from them, what they thought about the insurance that they have.
Sure.
Okay, so is anyone opposed to going with the no-shop option?
No.
I'm not.
Does anyone care to make a motion to that effect?
So move.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Last call for questions. Seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember McGuire?
Yes.
Councilmember McCure?
Yes.
Councilmember Taylor?
Yes?
Deputy Mayor Bernard?
Yes.
Mayor Anderson?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item number 20 is to be a staff update for planning and zoning fees, request for additional information. Randy?
You basically were included with the requested information from 3 weeks ago, I believe it was. We added the city of Sebring and the city of Lake Placid, as well as the amount of each one of the different types of planning and zoning services for the last 4 years. So I think it's time to go ahead and decide what your rates are going to be, or if you're going to change them or if you're not.
Okay. Questions, comments?
So I think you said last time, this didn't really affect the residents more so as it does the...
This is pretty much going to affect developers. Now, there are two in here that could affect a residence. One of them is a variance, and the other one would be a rezoning application.
It
But-
affects anyone that wants to build something, change the zoning.
Correct,
Any
but-
type of zoning action.
Right, but like somebody building a house or something, no, it's not going to affect anybody building a single-family home. But it's going to affect the large developments, the commercial developments that are coming in, shopping centers. Most of these people are not local. They're coming from South Florida or other places. And they're paying 2002 rates right now, which is 22 years. You know, it's laughable, actually, what our rates are.
Okay. And so the column for Avon Park, this is the current fees that we're charging?
Correct.
Okay. Did you have a list of the proposed of what you would recommend we go to?
I did not make any recommendations.
Okay. So you want to go one by one and try to do that now, or what?
Well, if you still, I don't know if you still have. I did the average last time, but that doesn't seem like what you wanted. So now I've given the spreadsheet. So Okay. We can, but I mean, if you're going to fall in line, I would stay consistent with other municipalities or county, with Highlands County, maybe the city of Sebring, Lake Placid. Most of these are apples for apples. I did not go out and get rates for Tampa or Orlando or Bradenton. I try to stay small, kind of consistent with what we have in surrounding areas like Fort Meade, Bowling Green, Dundee, Lake Wells, Frostburg, Wauchula.
Okay.
Did we get Sebring?
Yes.
It's the last line, last column.
I see it, all right.
So in your opinion, which town would be closest by population to Avon Park?
Sebring's going to be a little bit bigger, but I think Sebring would probably be the closest here. Arcadia, I believe, is smaller. Dundee, smaller, definitely. Frostproof, definitely smaller. The county is not a factor. Lake Wales, I believe, is bigger. Okeechobee is a little bit bigger. They seem to be the most aggressive with their prices, Okeechobee, and then you have Sebring at the end. So if you're looking for, and again, you understand, some of these, you'll see NAs next to the amounts. That means they don't have those fees in their fee schedule. The reason we have them is because they're currently in land code. And for them to be in land code, we have to charge for them. There's a lot of these fees we never, in my 4 years here, I've never, concurrency review is a big one, but the county does that. They don't charge us for that. That's for traffic concurrency, school, and we don't charge, but currently we have a fee on there. So, I mean, if you're going to leave some the same, that would be, that one could stay the same. The variance is ridiculously low at $150. Most people are getting, you can see what they're getting, upwards of $1,000 for a request. Variances are more for somebody that did something they're not supposed to, and then they're begging for forgiveness at the end. So $150 is really no deterrent to go build something or do something against code, because they would have to go back and get a variance afterwards for $150.
Sure.
Why bother doing it right?
You mentioned that you were doing a whole bunch of the lien verification letters. And
Yes, those are included in here, but I did look at those today. We're well over 200 from January 1 to date.
Unfortunately, I don't have the list where I did where you had the averages, but is it your recommendation to go with what, $15, $20?
I think 15 would be prudent. I think 15 would be it's not these, again, all these lien verifications, that takes time for staff.
Sure.
And they have to check different places. And right now we don't charge. We're one of the only people that, I didn't get fee schedules from the other ones, but the county charges, city, Sebring, everybody charges for the most part.
And the zoning verification letters, how many of those are you doing?
Those, as you see right now, 2024, they've done 9. Central Florida Regional Planning Council does those.
Okay.
As part of their services that we pay for contractually.
Okay. What is the recommended charge for that?
Well, since we don't have one, I think I would go with an average of.
Looks like $30.
Yeah, that's pretty. That's very generous. It's not what some people would consider gouging. But that takes, I don't know if you've ever seen one, that takes Central Florida quite a while and it's on their letterhead, and it's normally 2 pages, and it's a lot of legal documentation.
So for those two in particular, since we already have them singled out, is anybody opposed to charging for those two?
No, I'm fine.
No.
Okay.
And what was that, 15 and 30?
Looking at 15 and 30, yes.
Okay.
Anyone care to make that motion?
So moved.
All right, we have a motion to change the lien verification letter fee to $15 from 0, and the zoning verification letter fee from 0 to $30. We have a second. All right, go ahead and call a roll for that one.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember McGuire?
Yes.
Councilmember McCure?
Yes.
Councilmember Taylor?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Bernard?
Yes,
Mayor Anderson?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right. A lot of these, and the reason why I'm taking them one by one is because a lot of them vary so wildly. We're just trying to get somewhere with this. All right, so the comp plan, it looks like we are by far the lowest. Closest one would be Lake Placid. We're at $450 to $650 for a large scale. I believe you said last time small scale would be
Under 100
under 100, okay.
acres, which is pretty much going to be just about every one of them, except there's a few off of Davis Citrus.
Okay, so is it your recommendation to go with something closer to Lake Placid, 850, 1,500, or?
Well, if you split that, I mean, we're going to see very few large scale, but like Sebring does, they have $1,000.
Okay.
I think that the 1,000 would be fair.
Is anyone opposed to going with 1,000 for the comp plan?
No.
1,000 for small or large?
Yeah, it's the same. A lot of these agencies do just one fee regardless of the size.
It looks like Sebring says 1,000 or 2,000.
They do.
They do, but
Yeah.
since Sebring's got a lot more, I think, areas where they have bigger acreage than our acreage, large acreage areas are pretty limited here in the city.
Okay, is anyone opposed to going with 1,000?
No, sir.
Anyone care to make that motion?
So move.
We have a motion, we have a second. Please call the roll.
Thank you. Councilmember McGuire?
Yes.
Councilmember McCure?
Yes.
Councilmember Taylor?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Bernard?
Yes.
Mayor Anderson?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Small scale and large scale rezoning, what's the definition there?
It's the same, 100 acres and down.
Okay.
Currently, we've done 3 of those this year. We basically average about 6 a year, if you look at the last 4 years that CFRPC provided.
So if we're rezoning a home lot of, a third of an acre or something, it's still the same?
Correct. Yeah, it's still small scale.
Okay. Can we change the definition of small scale and large scale?
You can just make it just one fee, like 1 to 2.
What I'm kind of getting at is that I'm not necessarily in favor of charging someone the same for just doing a home lot.
You could just do
that may
one.
only be worth $10,000.
Yeah.
You know,
You can make one fee, and you don't have to call it large scale or small scale. It'd just be the fee of what it is.
I'm kind of in favor of having a small scale just so that we don't have to penalize the cheap, tiny lot for a considerable portion of its value, whereas if you have a property that's worth $5 million, you're not going to, such a small percentage is not going to matter. So would we have to change our actual plan in order to change those definitions, Jerry?
I would think it'd be best to go ahead and do that. I would like to see, put it in the form of a resolution.
Okay. So would we just simply give direction to come up with that, or?
Yes.
Okay. So is anyone opposed to us having we'll call it small scale as defined for residential home lots of 1 or less, or just 1 home lot, and then everything else would be the same?
I agree.
So even if it was one lot and they were going to put like a duplex type thing on it, you still want to?
Residential. So if it's commercial, in other words, if it's apartments, it negates that. Condos, it would also negate that.
Like mobile home parks and all that.
This would
kind
be
of
for
stuff?
single family residential only.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. Any further direction on that that you'll need?
No, I think we'll just get it from the record.
Get that? Okay. All right, text amendment. What in the world's a text amendment?
That's the big question. It's just change of wordage in the land development code to suit whatever the requester. If we're finding that maybe we have a contradiction between land code and ordinance, or land code and another portion of land code, we would have to change the text amendment. So if somebody was requesting, like a developer, they saw something that they were bringing in 1,000 homes and they wanted to change some verbiage to fit their vision, and it was close, we would have to change our land code to do so. Therefore, they would have to pay that fee to change said text.
Could we couple that into like variance?
It's not related to that.
No, it's totally different.
Okay. It just seems kind of like, okay. Any feeling from the board on that one?
Well, weren't most of the text amendments that we've done lately, those were just recommended to us?
Correct.
Based on laws and other things that have come down the board, though?
Correct.
So that was for the city's benefit, not necessarily someone petitioning for it?
Correct.
So I feel like that's more on us than it is on someone.
In those you would charge for, this would be somebody requesting a text amendment that suits their needs as opposed to the city's needs. And the city is willing to accept it because they think it's fair.
So there is a fee, and then it goes through P and Z, then it has to go through 2 readings of council, public hearing. So there is work involved with it.
Yeah, just the question that if it ultimately does, I don't think that we should do anything that doesn't benefit the city. And so if it ultimately does benefit the city, then why would we charge them for that? And if it doesn't benefit the city, then it shouldn't be accepted, just period, for any amount of money. It's kind of the argument I'm.
Right, and I see that Central CFRPC says that they've done 5. I mean, their definition may be a little different. I can tell you I've not given out 5 text amendment applications. I haven't given out any, quite frankly.
No, I think all of them have been.
Yes, I believe you're
from
correct.
them. Yeah.
Yep, city initiated.
So then we would be opposed to leaving that one as.
No, that could be fine.
Leave it alone. Anyone not in favor of leaving as is? All right, special exception, $250.
Again, last 2 years, none have come forward. I can't honestly tell you what a special exception is. As you see, most of the other agencies don't charge for it. They have a NA. Well, actually, 3 of them do.
Special exception is basically a situation where you have a code that allows certain options, and if it's allowed by special exception, and so you might have one general topic, and then there's a few other possibilities they could do, like we can do this. You can put it in within our special exception requirements, like you would say, you can only do this if you put in a fence, that sort of thing. And so it is specific to a project.
I see. Okay, anyone opposed to leaving as is?
No.
I'm fine.
Conditional use?
Again, we've had none in my 4 years here, and if you look of the graph that I gave, or not the graph, but the spreadsheet, City of Avon Park and only one other even have that fee on there. Everyone else is NA. And we have not done any in the last 4 years.
Anyone opposed to leaving as is?
No.
No.
Variance currently at $250 for multifamily and commercial. Single family is at $125.
That's the one I would really suggest you look at.
And your recommendation for changing that to?
I'd say double.
Yeah, that even at double, you're still going to be way lower than everybody else. But it seems like $500 looks like the average if you're looking at the 8 different cities and county.
Okay. Would we want to simply double the number, bringing the commercial to 500 and the single family to 250?
So moved.
Sure.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. So go ahead and call the roll, please.
Thank you. Councilmember McGuire?
Yes.
Councilmember McCure?
No.
Councilmember Taylor?
Yes or no? Come on.
No.
Deputy Mayor Bernard?
Yes.
Mayor Anderson?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, site plan review currently at 500.
Yeah, this is probably the biggest thing that we do. I currently have 8 of these going right now. And what these are basically, it's major, most developments or commercial projects that are extensive that come in, and it's basically the city is reviewing the engineered plans that are submitted, and there's by our development review committee, which consists of our engineer, fire, public works, myself, Central Florida, and then we go back and forth. We'll give the comments, and then they will respond to the comments, and there's normally 2 or 3 submittals that go back and forth before the final civil site plan is approved, and that is approved by CFRPC. It's sent to us. The city manager puts it on city letterhead, and they sends it to the engineer of record.
Any idea how much the actual engineering cost comes up to?
I cannot tell you, but I know most people charge for the engineering costs.
I just see one of them that says 500 plus engineering
I
fees.
think that's, yeah, because right now, to my knowledge, we don't recoup and we have to outsource our engineering services, and it's normally either Polston or it's Cool and Cobb.
Jerry, do you see an issue with having an actual engineering bill for a site plan review to be paid by the applicant?
I see no problem with that. In fact, I think it's actually normal.
Okay.
And actually, I send separate invoices when I review development issues and so on myself, at a higher rate than what I charge you, and that's billed out by the city to those people.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty labor intensive, which equals money.
Sure. Is anyone opposed to adding the engineering fees on a case-by-case basis?
No.
I mean,
As in they would pay for what they actually cost?
Would the city be choosing the engineer and things like that, or would the person?
Well, we basically use Polston. We use Cool and Cobb, depending on, a lot of time it depends on who the developer is using. If they're using Cool and Cobb, we can't use Cool and Cobb because it's a conflict of interest, because they can't represent both developer and city. So we have to use Polston. But Polston does, I think, majority of our engineering services. And then when we can't use them, we use Cool and Cobb. But I think we have an open PO with both of them.
I think my only thing is it's kind of like you would want an agreed upon rate sheet first, because those fees can vary widely.
We just did one, and Jerry was, I believe, involved in it. We just, for the first time, it's a development that is looking at putting an RV park in, and they are using Polston, so we can't use them. So we went with Cool and Cobb. Well, they invoiced after I sent the initial site plan over to them. They gave us an estimate of how many hours at the hourly rate, and then we requested from the developer a deposit to cover that said estimate, and then anything, if it didn't get to that estimate, we would refund it, or if it went over, then we would have to stop and then basically do like a change order, for that lack of a better word.
Any idea how much that bill actually was?
$3,000.
And that was for roughly 115 units or something?
Correct.
So it's a pretty sizable project, and it was $3,000, so give you an idea.
Yeah. I mean, it would still be nice if we could have some kind of, I'm just kind of thinking, when you have an insurance plan and they have a specific that they're going to pay when you go to the doctor. So it doesn't matter what doctor you're going to pay, they'll pay up to, $85 or whatever. If we had some kind of something in writing that we could ask the different engineers, okay, are you okay with this plan, this much per hour or whatever, just so we have some kind of consistency, and it's not, they could change their rates from month to month or week to week. And
sure. Well, if you do it in such a way that, as Randy just described, that they got an estimate first.
Yeah, I don't think, to me that would be, it's kind of like you get an estimate of your if you're going to have surgery, ahead of time how much out of pocket, for the most part, you're going to get. So I think we do the same thing on this. If we get the site plans, and then whatever engineer that we decide to use, we send those site and get an estimate from them. I don't think a flat fee per site plan review would be fair, because some require minimal site plan review and some are extensive.
Some people do a good job with the
Yeah,
first cut.
exactly. And one time we may only have one submittal because the engineer really, and then it's going to be a lot less money. But normally these go 2 and 3, and that's 2 or 3 times the engineer is looking at these.
right.
We have contracted rates. So with our continuing services agreement with the engineers, we have rates for them to perform different
Per hour review basis.
rates. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was looking for.
You hear me? Sorry. Yeah, we have rates that are set. So whatever it is, then they just bill times that unit price.
Okay.
And then, because it can vary depending on how big it is, how much retention and everything else that can go into it, easements and you name it. It can get pretty intensive, but at least it's set where the rates that we have is going to be better than anything that they go and get.
Okay. All right, that's what I was looking for.
Would anyone be in favor of just simply saying 500 plus the engineering fees?
I'm in favor of that.
Anyone opposed to that? Okay. All right, you want to make that motion?
So move, please.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second it.
All right, Make a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Councilmember McGuire?
Yes.
Councilmember McCure?
Yes.
Councilmember Taylor?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Bernard?
Yes.
Mayor Anderson?
Yes.
Motion passes.
The only thing I mentioned is, obviously, it doesn't affect the attorney's fees that I charge for the time that I'm required to address issues associated with it. We still bill those out as well.
Okay.
That'd be in addition to that.
All right, the plat review. So we've got 500 for preliminary, 500 for a final. Is there always a preliminary and final in each case?
Yes, and then the second one is the construction, but we don't charge for that because the county does our construction services.
Okay, I'm seeing numbers as low as 275 and up to 2,600, looks like.
Yeah, and then you can see basically, well, we've done 3 in 4 years, so it's not something that we run into a lot.
So we leave the preliminary and take the final off since the county does that?
No, there's 3 phases to the plat review. The county does the second one, that's why it's not on there, and we don't charge for it.
Okay, any suggestion as to a rate?
You said you only have done 2 since you've been here?
3 in 4 years according to CFRPC, yes.
I wouldn't be opposed to leave it as is.
Is anyone opposed to leaving it as is?
Randy, do you see that number going up, like within the next 3-4 years?
No,
when we're
ma'am,
not
those,
here?
no, ma'am.
No?
Basically, if you have vacant land, that's when you get into the plat reviews, but most of the developed lands don't require that, or none of them do. They're already platted.
Yeah. Usually when we annex new vacant
Correct.
property, they're already platted as they come in. Okay, so we'll leave that one as is. Vacation or right of way, we were currently at 250. Some are not available, some are 130, 500, 570, 1,000, 600. Any suggestion?
The only thing I would add to that is legal fees, because that is, obviously, Jerry plays an integral part in that. I mean, the submitter is responsible for getting what's called the letters of no objection from all the utility companies, and then the city opines on whether they object or not. Once that's done, Jerry requires the legal description based on meets and bounds. A survey is required, and then it goes in front, obviously, for the vacation. And I've been involved in maybe 3 since I've been here.
Jerry, any idea as to how much time a law office would spend on that?
It depends. It's not as variable as annexations is, but it does depend on how well they do their job of getting the meets and bounds, because sometimes I get legal descriptions that are not meets and bounds, and the survey doesn't show where the actual right-of-way is it's being vacated is and on their survey, and things like that. But, you know, other than that, it's just putting together the ordinance, and that doesn't take more than 2 hours normally.
2 hours at what rate?
300.
300, so around $600 for that. So would anyone be opposed of doing the 250 plus the legal fee associated with it?
No.
Going once, going twice? Okay.
550?
Say again?
You said total 550?
250 plus the legal fees.
Plus the legal
Jerry
fees.
said on average it was roughly 2 hours
$600.
at $300 an
But it may
hour.
not be 2 hours, that's just a rough estimate.
That's
Right.
an estimate, yeah. I don't bill for except what it takes me.
The point is the city's not having to incur that cost if it's complicated or not.
Right.
Okay, concurrency review.
Since we increased that one or changed it to,
Did you vote on that one?
We didn't vote on the one previous to it either that we were leaving alone.
Okay, concurrency review, as I indicated earlier, the county does the majority of those. We, according to CFRPC, we've had none in 4 years. I would leave it the way it is. It has to stay in there because it's currently in land code, so
Anyone?
we can't take it out.
Anyone opposed to leaving?
No.
No.
Okay. Appeals of administrative decisions.
Again, none in the last 4 years. If you're going to consider it, there's a lot of NAs, as you see there. I would leave it the same.
All right. documents, comprehensive plan, land development regulation.
Majority of those are NAs, as you can see, our comparisons against. I would be in favor of leaving it the same.
Okay. Annexation.
That's the one where we don't charge, but as we know, the majority of that is legal fees. So I think there should be some verbiage. There is, I think, a $26 application fee or something ridiculously low.
So obviously, we don't want to discourage annexation.
No.
I certainly don't think that the city should be charging for annexation unless it's, customer initiated.
Voluntary.
Voluntary.
Correct.
But what does the council feel about charging for annexation?
I feel like even with the voluntary, we should still, I mean, it's gonna benefit the city in the long run, but I saw some cities, they will do basically like a deposit that they put down for annexation, and if they follow through with it, and then we start making money off of the property, of course, then we do not charge them that, they get the deposit back.
Sure.
If it falls through for any reason, then they do not get that deposit back.
So city initiated 0, and for voluntary, having a deposit of,
I mean, I think everybody else, I don't know, maybe 1,000, 500. Everybody else is over 1,000.
Everyone else is around 2,000, looks like.
It can require substantial legal time if they don't put together the proper documents, because it's a very anal retentive statute that requires that their advertisement be in just so, and that the map be just so. So if they don't do it right in the first place, I've got to go back and tell them to do it differently, and sometimes they like to do it on their kitchen table, which creates, instead of having a surveyor do it, and that creates more issues. I mean, I've had to actually do the maps myself at times because I just could never figure it out. So that's why I say that this was widely variable.
okay. What do we want to do, legal fees or a percentage of legal fees?
I wouldn't be opposed to making it $500 plus legal fees.
Could
I
be
agree
pretty
with that.
steep. Could be pretty steep for a single lot,
That's true, too.
or even an acre, when an acre might be 10 grand.
Yeah, we don't want to discourage them from coming into
Right.
the city.
So then maybe we need to list the acres like Lake Wales did. I mean, if that's something that we could do.
I think that'd be a good idea to have like a
10 acres or less.
different first.
I can tell you the majority of the annexations requests that we're getting are in excess of 75, 100 acres. They aren't, I don't know that I've seen a single lot that's looking for annexation, because they're gonna have to border our city-owned lots anyways to be eligible. But most of them they're gonna be big developments, and therefore a lot of infrastructure put on, a lot of money coming into the city.
So we can set the rate as a whole right now, and then we can delineate a separate category in the future?
Yes, but right now, like I said, we don't have anything, so
Okay.
anything's better than what we have.
So maybe we do 500 plus legal fees for now, and then we'll look at possibly going a smaller category in the future. Anyone opposed to that?
No.
That's fine.
Okay. All right, so that concludes all of the ones that we have not voted on. So do we have a motion to approve the changes that were discussed?
I so move.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second it.
We have a second. Last call for questions. Seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember McGuire?
Yes.
Councilmember McCure?
Yes.
Councilmember Taylor?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Bernard?
Yes.
Mayor Anderson?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much. All right. Item number 21, city manager interview questions.
So the staff came up with 24 new questions, open-ended questions from each of the departments for the interviews scheduled for Saturday. And they've been provided, council's been provided with them, so we just need to know if those questions are okay for the interview process on Saturday. And then, in addition to these 24, each council member was going to ask one of their own questions across the board to the candidates. The other thing that we need to talk about just briefly is how that's going to be facilitated while we're over there. It's better to discuss it here than over there. And as a facilitator, with a panel interview, I could ask these 24 questions just one by one and have them direct the answers to the council, if that's what you want. Or council can take this copy and one by one just go through and ask them. Either way is fine.
I think it would be better for the same person to ask the same questions to every candidate.
Okay.
Keep it fair.
All right. Do you want that to be me or a council member?
You're volunteering from what I
Okay.
hear.
All right, sure. Okay. All right.
Is anybody opposed to that?
No, but we would still ask our question.
You would ask your own question.
And
That would be the
we're only
last
permitted
five.
to ask one question?
Mhm. Yeah, and that was discussed because of time.
Right.
You know, we're looking to try to keep the interview to 1 hour per candidate, hopefully. That can be a little challenging. Some may go a little over, some a little under, and we'll have to kind of to balance that as we're going through the process.
I would anticipate there's a very real reason, or very real chance that we will not get through all the questions if somebody is long-winded in their answers, so.
Yeah. The other thing too is I did talk to all 5 applicants today, and all 5 have confirmed that they're still on schedule to be here Saturday. So I did that final confirmation call to them. So we're good to go for that as well.
That's at the airport, correct?
That's at the airport, yes.
At 9 a.m.?
Starting at 9 a.m. That's where the interviews will be.
Denise, that one question that the council could ask, we have to pass that by you?
I don't need it as long as you ask the same question, your question to all 5 candidates.
Well, we probably would want you to see it to make sure it doesn't violate any human
Sure,
resources.
yes, okay, yeah. If you want to send that to me maybe by Wednesday, and then I can look at them and then just reply.
Okay.
Mhm. Very good.
Any other questions?
No, sir.
So in the event that we don't get through all of the questions for each candidate, is that an issue, Jerry? If they only answer 21 of them and don't make it to 24?
Yeah, no, I don't see any problem with that. It's not,
Okay, and ground rules for follow-up questions and rebuttals, we're not going to be asking follow-up questions.
right, because you never will get to the list if you do that.
So my next question is, are we concentrating on the time, the hour, or are we concentrating on making sure everybody get the same questions? Which one are we concentrating on? Which one are we going with? That way we do fair with all of them.
Yeah, it has to be a combination of the two, right? Because we want to hopefully try to ask all the questions to all the candidates.
Okay.
And as a facilitator, we can try to encourage them to, shorten their answer if it starts to get very long-winded and we see they're running down a rabbit trail, to kind of bring them back. We can help with that too. So
So in other words, you're saying that we're gonna give it our best shot, try to get all 21 and 24? 24 in there within that hour.
24
But if
plus your 5.
Plus mine. And if we don't, then we all have agreed that that may happen.
That could be.
Okay.
It might be helpful if somebody kept time and basically said, if we don't move faster, we're gonna not make alternative questions.
Sure. Yep, we can do that. Chrissy will be in there with me too.
Timekeeper.
Anything else on this topic?
No, sir.
Anything else from staff?
No.
Are we allowed to ask questions on this particular issue, or do we have to wait for the?
You can. You just have to do the usual.
Yes. Yes, one more thing.
Come up and give your name and address for the record, please.
Maria Sutherland, 900 West Main, Avon Park. Is it possible, just question, if the candidates, since there's so many questions, that they get all the questions in advance, they all are able to answer it, those responses are provided to the council, and then the council can pick and choose out of there which questions to re-ask if they have any questions on them, so that the candidates can elaborate? Otherwise, you have 35 questions basically for each individual person, and you're never going to get through the top 10.
Yes, and that's a good question. We had talked about that before, and where we were going with that initially was having a hiring committee to talk to the candidates beforehand. That was not agreed upon by council. Council wanted to do the interview themselves, so that kind of took that step away. To provide the questions in advance, if you go that route, I mean, I can jump on Google and answer any one of these questions. So you're not going to know if they're doing that or not. So that would be the reason why I wouldn't recommend doing that.
ChatGPT does a pretty good job.
Yes.
I like it on the fly, but anyway, we reduce the staffs down to, say, 24 to, say, 18. A couple, like you all picked out 3 questions each, staff?
Yeah, we could take one question away from each of these to have fewer questions.
I think that would be advisable.
We could certainly do that.
Plus the one we have.
Yeah, I mean, if you leave their response to a minute and a half each, then you still make it through. Since we're not gonna be asking follow-up questions, we don't really, there's nothing to slow it down, really.
Right, they'll never make 24.
Yeah.
Well, if you limit it to a minute and a half, they will.
Yeah.
Maybe we could just preface the entire meeting of saying we want to get it done in an hour.
Short,
So keep
precise
it,
answers.
Keep it shorter, yeah.
Sure.
You could even run the timer if you wanted to.
Yep,
Yeah.
have a little flip timer.
I'm a fan of the timer.
I
Sure.
mean, a minute is a long time to
You know,
talk.
if you make them aware of it, and they have the timer right there in front of them, then
Right.
they can, they'll be tested as to their ability to be succinct.
And you can tell that ahead of time. You can tell them they only have a minute and a half to answer
Yes.
tomorrow, and then they'll be able to kind of condense everything, so we don't have to hear a 20-minute opener.
Sure.
You know?
Yep.
Or you got 24 or 25 questions to answer here, and then we pretty much giving you 1 hour to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep, keep
That'll
it, keep
stop
it
them
short.
from
Puts them on the
Yeah.
spot, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
If they don't do a good job, then maybe we shouldn't consider
We'll
it.
start taking points away if they don't make it through.
Okay. Anything else on the
Do we
questions
have-
or the format?
Do we have the 24 questions? I didn't know if I checked today or not.
Yes, yeah, those were provided. I have an extra copy if you need it.
I would, please.
Yeah.
Anything else on the city manager interview questions?
So we decided that we're just gonna tell them you have 25 questions and you have an hour to take. Okay. We're
Yeah.
not taking anything away.
No.
Okay.
Right. But that was Maria Sutherland that asked the question. There's no public questions. Okay, for the record. All right. Anything else on the item number 21?
Yes, sir.
Seeing none. Attorney updates.
I'm back from vacation. No, actually, the next item is what I have.
Okay. Item number 22, Shady Union announcement.
And so, you're all aware that the Sunshine Act applies to the city having open meetings and so on. There's an exception to that that's called shade meetings. When litigation is, the city's involved in litigation in court. It's, the attorney can request that we have a shade meeting at the next meeting or a subsequent meeting for advice concerning litigation. And so at this point, that's what I'm doing with regard to a litigation for your foreclosure case that's pending. I am advising you that the next public meeting, we're going to have I would like to have the advice from the council concerning litigation. I've talked with Ellie Nyberger, she's on the line as well. But
May I interject, Jerry?
yeah,
So the next, the August 26th meeting, we've already planned out that agenda, and there is we're going to need to do another executive session with the fire union, so I wouldn't recommend doing it at that meeting. I've already talked to Ellie, who's available. We were thinking more of the first September meeting. I don't have that off the top of my head.
okay. We're required to, by court order, to have another shot at settlement of this case. And as such, we're required to negotiate in good faith. And so as part of that, I would desire advice concerning that litigation as to the settlement possibilities. So,
Would the first meeting time in September be a problem, Jerry?
no, not to me, as long as the court's okay with it.
Okay. And if the court was not okay with it and we instead had to have it on the next meeting agenda, would it be an issue to have 2 executive shade meetings in the same agenda?
That'd be tough.
No. What's the other executive?
That would be the union, fire union.
No, it would be extremely long.
Okay. We're used to those.
So, I believe I've fulfilled my requirement, which is to request that we have that. I need advice from you all concerning that litigation at a sheet meeting that's going to be held in the future, at a set meeting that will be properly noticed and so on. I will provide you basically an explanation of what this means about, what your limitations are with regard to this, and additional information for the mayor that has to be handled with regard to the call of the meeting and so on. So that will all be coming to you.
Very good. Do you need anything from us?
No.
I think anything litigation should be done in shade.
Okay. All right. Next item be the city manager's report.
Yes, sir. So I just wanted to provide some bid updates. Currently, the city has 2 open bids. ITB number 24-13 for the AP Classic Caladium's roof replacement. The opening for that bid is scheduled on August 30th. We also have RFP number 24-12. That's for the sale and development of city-owned property at 101 West Main Street. That opening is scheduled for August 26th. Couple of project updates. The Public Works roof project is nearing completion with the roof fully installed. We have scheduled the start for the Recreation Center roof project for August 19th. We do have a board vacancy on the CRA advisory board. Laura Wade is no longer qualified to serve on the CRA board. She does no longer own a business on Main Street and does not live within city limits, so we will posting that vacancy on the website. Christmas decorations. Kamala Long from the Chamber has asked to renew the discussions for Christmas decorations. Considering that we're undergoing our budget sessions, I just wanted to check in with council to see if that's something you'd like to add on a future agenda.
Yes.
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 Looks like we are.
All right. I just wanted to announce officially the August 17th special meeting for interviewing city manager candidates. I know we said it earlier, but just to reiterate, we will be conducting that at the Avon Park Airport boardroom, and that's due to early voting, and that the community center is not available because of an event. I'd like to announce some great news. We have some staff tenure. We've had 2 anniversaries recently. Administration would like to extend our gratitude and support to these individuals. Tracy Roberts, who has been with the city for 10 years, and Jonathan Previtt, who's been with the city for 20 years. Thank you for your service.
Thank you very much.
Event update, Orange Blossom Gravel event. Steve Ayers, who's the coordinator, is planned to host his event at the Jacaranda Hotel. He will no longer need a city park or a road closure. FAA update, I spoke with David Banner on August 7th, who confirmed there were no updates from the FAA. He will reach out to them this week to request an update, partially because our objective is to actively engage with the FAA and promptly address any of their concerns, but we want to do it in a gentle manner so it doesn't come off as aggressive or rude. Future updates will hopefully be forthcoming. And in conclusion, FDOT road transfer for Main Street. Public Works Director Atkinson and myself met with Highlands County and representatives from FDOT. The city was offered the opportunity to take over Main Street, enabling FDOT to advance with the Main Street repaving project. Right now, this is extremely preliminary, and there will be more updates forthcoming as we undergo additional discussions with FDOT and the county.
Okay, very good. Any questions on any of that?
Yes, sir.
All right, that concludes our regularly scheduled agenda. We've got a few sign-ups here.
Mayor, I'd like to ask why we have to cut it at 3 minutes.
That's what we decided to do.
Who decided?
I did.
Shouldn't we all decide?
No, that's not the way it works. Whether it's 3 or it's 5 minutes, I think we can accommodate everyone unless there's 100 people in a row that want to speak for an hour. So the only stipulation is that they are only allowed to speak one time. We're not going to have a bunch of round robin of coming back and going back and back and forth, yada,
That's
yada.
fine, but I think they should be heard their 5 minutes.
Duly noted. All right, first sign up is Holly Rawlerson. If you will, make your way to the microphone. Just give your name and address for the record.
Hello, I am Holly Rollerson, 6270 East Arbuckle Road,
Yes,
Avon
ma'am.
Park. Well, I'm sure you anticipated that there would be at least one person wanting to speak about Sean Holiday and the accusations by Jane Benham. I guess the main question that is on my mind is, how did we get such a rushed investigation? A report was filed on Monday. He was fired on Thursday night.
That's not true. He was
Just-
fired on
We
Friday.
will let her
Oh,
have
okay,
her
on
3
Friday.
minutes, and then
Yes.
after any of her 3
Okay.
minutes, we'll respond.
Okay, so Monday and then Friday. To my knowledge, there was also a list of maybe some people to follow up with that would prove a pattern on Miss Benham, Mrs. Benham, who I believe is on the Zoom today. So if she is, hello. I was on that list. I have had personal dealings with this woman, along with probably several people in this room who could prove a pattern of theft, of lying, of bad business. It was never followed up. And you roll your eyes, but
No,
it's
not
true.
rolling my eyes.
But you did. You just did.
I didn't, okay,
Okay, I'm sure everyone here saw.
that's fine.
Okay, so it was never followed up. I feel he was fired unjustly. He was doing lots of good things for the community. And I believe it's a lot of people in this community, their opinion that Mrs. Benham is not doing good things for this community. So was there a reason that it was a rushed investigation? I mean, Monday to Friday seems very short for such a position. And then also to be done under an interim city manager. Why did we rush this? Why wasn't it something that was addressed when we have a full-time permanent city manager instead of an interim? What was so horrendous about the accusation that it had to be addressed immediately?
Are you done?
I'll be happy.
I
to
am
answer-
done.
I'll be happy to answer that question.
If you're done, you have to take your seat.
Okay.
I said, I'll be happy to answer that question.
If you'd like to respond, go ahead.
Just so you know, when you said nobody followed up, I want you to know that I personally followed up with several people to get several comments from people that I trusted, and I believe that the information I received was correct. So you might not think nobody else followed up. I'm telling you, I followed up. I said I followed up.
We can't have comments not in the microphone. All right, next speaker is Sarah Pipel.
No one answered the question. Why was it rushed?
You cannot make comments from the audience. If you want to speak, you have to be, no. You said that you were done with your 3 minutes. You cannot speak from out there, so we're done with that. All right, I'm sorry, ma'am, we're done. Sarah Pipel.
Yeah, clearly.
If you can't refrain from making comments, you'll be asked to leave.
My name is Sarah Pipel. I own the Pipel Group, 100 East Main Street. I also own several businesses.
Yes, ma'am.
I have been here for many, many years behind the scenes. I don't need the public accolades that some crave. Since coming here, I have brought several businesses here. I've had pretty good relationship with people at the city, I thought. And with some people on the council. I have always conducted myself professionally. I have never called out and caused drama, and either have my associates. I have several companies that I run that are for the betterment of Avon Park. I have been here doing active real estate on the south side, west side, east side. I'm also responsible for selling Robert King Realty and trying to preserve as much of Avon Park history as I possibly can. I also sold the Freeze King, everybody's favorite hangout after high school back in the 80s and 90s. So I have been behind the scenes doing all these things. I don't agree with what was done to Sean Holiday because I only know him on a professional basis. He, in the short time that he was in his position, he did a lot of good and was loved by a lot of people in this community because of the good he was doing. Now, put that aside. You received, Christy, a letter that was confidential that I wrote testifying on these individuals' behavior. I know she's online, and that's okay. You redacted her name, but you put my information out there. You did not protect me. You did not protect my businesses. These women have threatened online to come to my business and other business women in this community and take care of our businesses. So what is the city prepared to do when they come and break out my windows? Not only that, what is the city prepared to do when they go to Lake Placid and destroy my business in Lake Placid? Because all that information, you didn't even have the courtesy of taking my name out of the bottom. It has both my businesses on there. It has my personal phone numbers on there. It has all my social media, my websites, everything. That's what I'm upset about. You did not care enough about me and my businesses and my employees. So what is the city prepared to do if they get this mob mentality and come destroy these businesses?
So the individual is protected
That's the
under...
end of the 3 minutes.
No.
Sarah?
Okay.
That's the end of the 3 minutes.
Yeah, go ahead.
If you could please take your seat. So
Okay.
3 minutes.
But can she answer? I mean, what am I going to do about my businesses?
Certainly she can answer, but I'm just.
Everything
telling you, 3
that,
minutes
every
up.
email, and it's in our disclaimers when we send emails, everything is a matter of public record.
I agree.
With the
There's not going to
exception,
be follow-up comments, ma'am.
with
Please
the
sit down.
exception of, under Florida statute, there are certain exemptions that apply to certain individuals due to their profession. I can cite this statute for you. It's chapter 119.071. You're welcome to, I'd be happy to send it to you if you'd like it.
All right, we have another speaker, Richard Robinson. Okay. We have another, it's gonna be a tough one. Ms. Rivera? Yes, ma'am. You can please make your way to the microphone. Just give your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Alilani Rosario Rivera. My business address is 105 East Main Street. We own the business there, the building. And I guess I'm not here to ask any questions. I think I've heard a lot of questions be answered. And I guess I just want to bring up my concern. I had been working with Sean for a while. Our building has a lot of issues, and I just want to just say that my experience working with Sean had been positive the entire time. I think he was a boost of confidence. Every time I was around the building, every time I went up to him, reached out, it felt like there was someone there that was attentive to my concerns, my needs. He actually made me aware of what the CRA is and how they can help out someone that's trying to, that has a business and is trying to progress here in Avon Park. I've been here all my life. We've had a business for 9 years, and I'm just, I just wanted to say that our encounter has always been positive. Even though I probably brought up concerns to him about certain individuals, there was honestly never really a time where he actually said anything negative about him. And that sometimes made me question, do we have the same values? Do we have the same, but he was never like that. And I just feel sad, and it's a little unfortunate. I felt like there was a little bit of hope there for a little bit. Hopefully you can prove me wrong. But I just wanted to bring that to your attention. This is my first time here, so, all right. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you. All right, that is the last of our signups. Anything?
I have some questions of my own, actually.
Okay.
The Florida statute that you listed, the Florida statute that you listed was which one? 119071. What was the rest of it?
I sent that to you earlier.
Right, and what was the rest of it?
Allow me to pull it up.
Please, because there's a couple that are kind of different, so I'm just wondering which one you're trying to quote. There's 1190714D, which allows individuals to request protected addresses. Status to keep their home addresses and phone numbers confidential, which is active or former law enforcement personnel.
It also
Address,
applies
address,
to other
not name,
positions.
not
Yes,
name.
ma'am.
If we go Florida Statute 1190714D2A, this exempts the personal identifying information of certain non-sworn investigative personnel from public disclosure, current or former Department of Financial Services personnel who investigate fraud, theft, workers' compensation, or other criminal activities. And there's also 11907-4D2, which exempts certain individuals or personal identifying information from public disclosure. This exemption applies to people whose jobs put them in close contact with people who could be a threat to them or who could be subject them to harassment. So I didn't find anywhere in there where it said that their name.
Chapter 119.071, subsection 4D 2.A. You left off the part where it leaves off. There's a lot more to that than what you read off.
Okay, so if she was very worried about her name being put out there, then why isn't her name taken off her SunBiz as redacted?
Not my responsibility. My responsibility is to protect her information when it hits us.
She also has her name on the county website
You
for
understand that
public.
that's not really relevant to public records?
I just want it to be known. I just want it to be known.
My job is to protect her when I've been notified of the exemptions applicability. It was referenced by law enforcement officers as well, so.
Well, I didn't see the name. I saw the address, didn't see the name. And I also like to know how we're gonna move forward with all the projects now.
Very easily, like we always have. Jerry, did you have something you wanted to add?
I was just going to simply say, I just advise not to speak any more about the exemption because I don't want to get into details.
You can't make the comments from the crowd. You know this, Rob. You know this. All right. Is there anything else for the good of the city?
No, sir.
Okay. Seeing none, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, please.
Seeing no opposition, we are adjourned.